Hello, and welcome to another episode of Philo. Let me introduce my co-host, which is Miss Robin Fisher. This is Miss Robin Fisher. She's in Canada,
Yes.
which is right now a better place than where I am.
We're in the middle of an election, so
Yeah, well,
you make that of you what you will.
You guys can be patriotic and elect a good leader for yourself. And then this is our guest artist today. This is Scott Dalton. Scott Dalton and I go way back to O Entertainment when I was but a wee intern at 18, working on the Thumb movies. And if you don't know what the Thumb movies are, they're very.
And it doesn't count. It doesn't count. If you don't know what those are, then you don't count.
No, they're very weird little parodies with like thumbs and faces superimposed over them, done by Steve Odekirk, who used to be the head writer of In Living Color, and he wrote Ace Ventura 1 and 2. He directed the second one. He's like best friends with Jim Carrey, and Bruce Almighty, I think, is also one of his. And like,
is he Canadian? Because Jim is.
Oh, let's find out.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't think he is either.
Let's see. Is Steve Odekirk Canadian? I don't know. We'll find out.
I believe he's in like real estate now.
It says he's an American filmmaker, actor, and stand-up comedian. Yeah, and it does mention in his Wikipedia the Thumbmation shorts.
All right.
So yay!
The only thing
Evidence. There's evidence that we did something that exists.
The only thing that counts.
So, let us review where we are in the story. One, to let Scott know where we are in the story, because I realized I forgot to review with him. And two, to let our audience know. So this is Little Shroom. He knows how to navigate through the Stargates. And they found a Stargate at a Space Bucky's after escaping from Disney, spelled with a Z. Very important that Disney is spelled with a Z. And they bundled the buffet from their space cruise at the beginning of the story and step through the Stargate, which takes them to an Escherland of different Stargates that take them to different dimensions and different time streams. And we have this wonderful poem, which at the moment I won't read because I've read it before, but it's a great poem that one of our viewers wrote us about everything spiraling and coming to design. People start coming out of the Stargates. The Rogues Gallery emerge from the Stargates. And then so do the Honors Society, which includes 3 raccoons in a trench coat and John Wick. And then this is David Bowie, but he's dressed like Sting from Dune. And then this is Napoleon, Napoleon Bonaparte. And then a squad of Spaders come to police the situation. So, James Spader, the actor?
That's what I was thinking.
Yes. So a squad of them come to police the situation in our Escherland of Stargates. And Spaders Court is now in session. And so,
how are we going to avoid making it like the last story where the Kaiju Council came to police the situation?
We will figure this out with the help of our audience somehow. Hello, Magic Marmot. Spaders Squad.
Hello, Magic Marmot. We're glad to see you.
So this is the redrawing of the panel. I did my best to try and capture the original, but I did draw it a little bit better. I took like twice the amount of time on it. So Philo is on trial for crimes against unreality in Spaders Court. And then he is asked by Judge Spader, where weren't you on March 10th? And that's where we left off in our story. So I got my template open, and then I'm sure you have your template open. Do you want to take the first panel?
Mm-mm.
No? No, you don't trust me? What? You don't think it will be good. Let's
Oh,
see.
I'll do my best.
Okay. Give me a second.
That's all we ask. That's all we ask.
Right?
I got in my head I had a vision of like a series of clowns just walking across the panel. Like I think to make this different from the Kaiju Court, it should be really, really absurd.
It
Not serious at all.
So more of a kangaroo court.
Yeah, because the Kaiju Court was really serious. Like they were ticked off that we had created the new Kaiju and they were causing havoc and yada yada, right?
Yeah. Okay, give me one quick second. I gotta clean this up. I realized my panel that I usually copy, I had destroyed, and so I have to fix it.
Oh no!
So yes, I'm gonna put up Scott's panel, and we'll have Scott draw the first panel.
Yay!
Yes.
But we haven't decided what it is.
Right?
Have we?
No,
he wasn't in the Arctic wearing a white jacket.
I see what you're doing there.
Yes. 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 He could be in the Arctic in a white jacket, but that would be kind of easy for you to draw. I think you should challenge yourself.
Oh, I know. I was kidding. Oh.
Magic says the defendant and prosecution should each have their own attorneys or advocates that would be asking the questions. That's going to make the panel really crowded because we already have our crew and then the Spaders.
Yeah. Yeah. There could be like a line of people waiting to testify going off into infinity.
And the prosecution is like, we have prepared for this for years. And our people are like, what the hell? We just got here.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Let's do this. And then, yeah, we'll go what happens next. Okay. And then this
You're so cute.
becomes copy me. Oh my gosh. Now I have a panel. Okay. Now I have a panel. Okay. Panel 2. So, okay. Let's see. Having the judge ask the first absurd question is wonky. Is Armand acting as Philo's counsel? Asked Magic Marmot.
Is he? Or do they have their own special Spader to defend them?
Oh, I love that idea. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes.
Wait, let me check Spader's IMDb resume and try to find like the weirdest movie credit he's got.
Well, you don't want to just go for Boston Legal Spader? Like the
no, because that's pretty.
Spaders there are?
That's not absurd.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay. So
there's gonna be something where he's like the voice of the dragon in this, like in Fern Gully 2. You know what I mean? Like there's gonna be something really weird and hilarious.
Okay. I got it. Okay. So your caption is they're assigned their like, what is it when you're assigned your defense attorney? Like
a public defense attorney.
Yeah, so they're assigned their public Spader, right? They're
pro bono Spader.
They're pro Spader, right? They're assigned their pro Spader. they're the Spader. they're assigned their.
I like pro bono Spader.
The pro bono Spader. Yeah, they're assigned their Spader.
Okay, I'm going straight to the beginning. His first appearance was a show in 1978, but let's see what else I can find here.
Okay.
He was in a movie called Cocaine.
I'm just gonna Google James Spader Strange and see what comes up under images.
Yeah, Stargate's too obvious.
He does have the weird eyes in Supernova. And
he was in Less Than Zero and he was in Wall Street. That's a double whammy of ruthless dudes.
Yeah.
Less than zero. What did he?
And sex lies and videotape. Wow, he was in a lot of good stuff.
Well,
See
he's
if I
that
can-
guy.
He's a good actor. Let's see. Blacklist.
He was in a movie in '94 called Wolf. It looks like a werewolf
Yes.
movie.
Yes, it's amazing if you haven't seen it. It really is amazing.
Well, he was in Stargate.
Yes.
Did we cover that?
Of course we did. That's
Well, I was gonna say, that seems a little bit too obvious. That's the king.
Well, we had Stargate, so I was like,
what did he do? He was in Seinfeld.
yeah, I was just looking at that. Seinfeld. I'm surprised he hasn't done any animated.
Why don't we just draw him as Ultron?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because
That's visually easily identifiable, and it's absurd.
And it's absurd, and it's the weirdest James Spader role that I can think of. Is him as a sentient AI that decides to destroy the world, and yet is somehow also Vision.
His last two credits are Ultron and Blacklist, and that's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Ultron is the one. I think you're right.
Yeah, so I think that's your panel. He's assigned is that Philo is assigned a pro bono dispater, and the dispater is an Ultron lawyer
With
for
glasses, right?
Yes. So that's the panel you're drawing.
Somehow with glasses.
Hi, Fly Roper. So what is
Huh?
the
And a
deal with the
briefcase.
James Spader
He's got
fixation?
glasses and a briefcase.
Of course. Of course.
The James Spader fixation that's just what popped up last show. Is that we have a squad of Spaders show up, and now they are trying Philo for crimes against unreality because they're in an Escher zone. Let me show you the last page. Like here, I'll bring it up here.
How do you get the hairline though?
Well, I don't know. I'd start drawing. We're 13 minutes in. There's no art done yet.
Oh geez. All right. Where's my
Yes. Thou shalt draw fast.
Where's my pen?
I don't know. But yes, I'm sharing artwork with the crowd. See, there's one of the James Spaders in court, and then there's the squad of Spaders showing up. And then we have them on trial. And then where weren't you on March 10th? So they're assigned a pro bono dispater, and then what happens after they're assigned a pro bono dispater? Because that's what happens in my panel.
Well, he's got to say something because the panel that we're drawing right now is where the prosecution is yelling at them and explaining what the plan has been all along.
So where weren't you on March 10th? So what would the answer be, or what would the questioning be, or the line of questioning be? What would the evidence be? Like,
Philo wasn't at Wally World in Tuskegee. That's what they should say. That's what Magic Marmot wrote.
Let's see.
Philo wasn't at Wally World in Tuskegee. Tuskegee.
Because it was closed. Moved outside.
But that's the response, right? Like, it's an absurd answer to an absurd question.
It should accuse them of being there, and then the moose outside testifies that they were closed.
So the defense lays out their exhibits. Of like where he wasn't.
And why he's not guilty.
And why he's not guilty.
Yeah.
All right, let me put up Scott, so that's a little bit more. Yeah.
I can do a show and tell if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm 60 minutes in, no art. Ah!
This is high art. What are you talking about?
Let's see.
Or not. It's up to you. I don't care.
Yeah. Let me put you in the big window. Here. I'll put you in the big window.
Give you guys a chance to draw stuff.
Yeah. Wait, I'll do this. I'll put you in the big window over here. Yeah, there we go.
So my friend Robin just put out this new comic book called Sonic Sewer.
Yeah. Nice.
And he has done a whole series for like I think I don't know how long. I want to say like 12 years. It was 34 issues, 8 collected books, and 25 years. I was off by a year. And it was called Cinema Sewer, and he would do like these incredibly dense issues that became collections that were about like every underground film you could possibly imagine. Like when I lived in Vancouver, I would go over to his house with like boyfriends and friends, and we'd have like film festivals, and he would show us the weirdest Japanese films or the strangest, most underground films. Like I'd seen so many things through Robin that I'd never seen anywhere else in my life. And this was before the internet was big, right? So it was a lot of VHS trading hands and stuff. Anyways, he finished with Cinema Sewer, but he decided to do this Sonic Sewer. Now, let me show you. When I say it's dense, like it's flippin' dense. That's his own handwriting. He does it all.
And these are what, reviews?
Yeah, they're reviews of a vinyl junkie. A vinyl obsessive's guided tour through music history. And he talks about all sorts of different people, like they might be giants. I want to be a jazz snob. Let's see here. We've got another one about the Dave Matthews Chicago River incident.
Oh, yeah, it's my favorite.
He's got like just crazy stories and excellent, interesting. The story of Yo MTV Raps Unplugged. Let's see here. The story of Young Hearts Run Free. Captain and Tennille. Like he does a lot of research. Like he's really, really. Oh, I didn't realize those other things. He does a lot of research, like you wouldn't believe. And he accompanies it with comics and art, and like it's gonna take me eons to read this. It's gonna be great. Let's see, the best concert I ever saw, Sigur Rós at the St. Andrew's Church. I was there. I was at that show. That was in 2001, he says. Yeah, I was there. I still live in Vancouver. I was there. Sigur Rós. Have you ever listened to Sigur Rós?
I don't think so.
They're like, I believe they're Swedish or they're Icelandic. I can't remember. What does he say here? I have such a bad memory.
I don't like what's going on with the music. Let me change it.
Yeah, I think it just jolted.
It's my favorite band.
They're from Iceland. Yeah, they're from Iceland, and they sound like angels. So, like, seeing them in that church in St. Andrews, it was amazing. Yeah. That was, I forgot about that. I need to look at my old tickets. I'm being reminded of my shows. But yeah, there's so much, like, variety in music styles in this, and there's so much, like, interesting content and other artists, and, like you'll be reading this I'm going to be reading this for years. Sorry. This looks so cool. Connie Francis. I don't even know who Bobby Gentry is. The story of Easy Lover, that Phil Collins song. I can't wait to read that. Top 10 albums for teenage lesbians.
See, that seems like it's one of those books that is in music people's libraries.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how else to word it than that.
No, you're not wrong. But it's exhaustive, and I can't wait to start reading it. I'm gonna learn so much. I always learn stuff from Robin. He's got this read in here, Sonic Sewer. Ooh.
It's cool. Okay, I'm gonna do
This
this.
is saucy too.
Worth every penny.
Oh, hi, Tangent. Good to see you. is there a jury of 13 Spaders? We have a question of.
I mean, why not?
And then, yes.
The only way it should be 13 Spaders.
Yes. So I think I'm gonna take some time on my Ultron. Then.
Mine looks like a Ninja Turtle, so you're good.
Yeah, I think I'll take some time with my Ultron. Give you some time to catch up. Because I draw fast. Compared to some of our artists.
Oh, you always did, though.
No, I'm slow. Like...
No.
Well, hello, Double Hulk. The Double Hulk. The Bulk Hulk. That's a nice one.
Ah, yes, that's Double Hulk. Double K Hulk. Double K Hulk. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I know who it is, and that's what's important. Is I know who it is. So yes, it is good to see you, my friend. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. I learned tonight I might be up full time at the post office. Very good, sooner than I expected. I was
really good.
In another 6 or so months, but someone else is retiring. Ooh, so it might end up being in just a couple months. Very good.
That's a big deal right now in this climate. That's a big deal. Yeah. Congratulations. I hope it works out.
Yeah, I hope it works out. I hope you get like a good route and everything, where like there's dogs to feed little like milk bones to along the way. You know what I mean? Like where you're the neighborhood guy. You're like, you're the neighborhood person. Yeah, which gives that yesterday doing a route in the rain just ran me completely ragged and left me barely coherent. It's scary, and yet I need the job. Yeah, well, everyone needs a job. I am teaching a still life drawing class this Saturday in Parker. And nice. So I have 6 students on my roster, but I think that it's still open for enrollment if anybody wants to, join and stuff like that. I still need to make the still life. I think I'm going to take out some of my dad's pots out of storage and, and put those in the still life. I think he'd appreciate that. And, so we're going to do that. We're going to do still life this weekend, and my day job put me in box office so that I'm not running around, running food around or anything like that and being like super physical after standing around, teaching people how to draw for 5 hours prior to that. So I think that's kind of cool that they, nice. When I was like, I'm going to be working in the morning. Can I have an easy shift? And they're like, yeah, sure. We'll give you an easy shift. It's like, yay. Yeah. So that's cool. And usually I don't request stuff like that. So it's nice that they accommodated me. So, but like I said, usually I don't request stuff like that. I try not to. I try and be easygoing. But, yeah. But yeah, it's still life drawing. This is how to draw a circle. This is how to draw a square and put them together and make a vase.
There's the banana.
Yeah. Yeah, I might add some fruit. Fruit's easy to draw. And then I can eat the fruit after. And that's important.
Have them do still life with technology.
I don't want to make it too hard for them to draw.
No, I don't think it would be if you just have like their phones, whatever they listen to music. They must have other tech things, right? Their watch. Yeah. And they could draw those things, but they're off.
Yeah.
Right. Did you give me a panel number?
You're panel 1.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I didn't want to guess.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking. Thank you.
So right now it's at panel X, and it'll remain that way.
Yeah, and then I'm checking it later, and then I'm going, Scott! Ah!
What did you do? What did you do?
No, there was one artist that he literally broke all the rules, and only one artist. I at the day after, I was like, gosh, what if you didn't label it, you didn't number your panels, you didn't even put your name on it, you sent it to me at the wrong size, you didn't use my template, you sent it to me at the wrong DPI, right? Like what the hell? I can't use this, right?
Like at all.
Well, no, I mean, I could. I had to adjust it and stuff. Luckily, the DPI you sent it to me at was larger than the one that I print at.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So, I print at 300 DPI, and he sent it to me at like, what was it, like 900 DPI.
Oh,
and I'm like, are you printing billboards? Like, why is your file at 900 DPI?
I'm always overkill. That's why I actually prefer working. I always like for professional work. It's always vector art.
Yeah.
At least. Well, unless when it comes to colors, I will
Yeah.
bring it into the other world. But
yeah, and I mean, even then, if it's flat color, like vector, sometimes is the way to go. I do love the puppers, says Tangent. Every time I go to work, I think to myself, my spouse would love this job. I like to think they are hovering over my shoulder and catching me when I slip and fall and doing, damn, I have loved this. Today was a good day at work. They noticed my hand was shaking and reassigned me to the first route I was on, which I know quite well. And I was able to finish the route by 4 p.m. Given yesterday, I ended at 8 p.m. and got home at a reasonable hour. Good for you.
Yeah, that's a really late hour to get home at.
Yeah, well, if you don't know the route, and you have to make sure everybody gets their mail, like, it's understandable.
Oh yeah, I was just sympathizing, how late
Yeah.
they were getting home.
Yeah, like I would be the kind of person where I would want to make sure that I am doing it right? So I could easily see, like, me being that person that doesn't get home until 8 o'clock at night. And it's like, no, this is just when I get home. And it's like, no, there's better ways, Amber. There's better ways. This isn't the job for you. Yeah. So what are your art jobs like these days, Scott?
Actually, a lot of those tournament disc stamps, like I was showing you earlier. I got a guy in southern Utah that runs all the tournaments out there, and I actually attend a lot of them. So that's usually kind of sometimes my pay. He'll register me for everything,
Mm-hmm.
and then if not, I will get paid cash for it.
Yeah.
What kind of tournaments? Like poker tournaments?
Disc golf.
Oh, golf tournaments. Okay, cool.
Yeah, frisbee golf.
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
golf, frisbee golf.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So disc golf, frisbee golf. Yeah. So, I guess you could say the regular man's golf.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's
The poor man's golf.
Yeah. See, I what I'm doing for my evidence is like one of them, they're on a roller coaster. And
Wally World?
I don't know if they're at Wally World. And then
Well, they
another
weren't
one,
there.
they're
So no, they can't.
Yeah, it was closed.
It was closed. The moose
And then-
I should have told you.
Yeah, with that matte painting of Wally World. I always remember that matte painting.
Don't they go in though?
Yeah, because they hold the guy hostage.
Yeah, they forced him to go on a bunch of roller coasters and stuff.
Yeah, Chevy Chase's characters are not nice characters.
It was John Candy.
Yeah, it was John Candy.
Yeah. Well, John Candy was the guy that was held up. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Chevy Chase was the one that held him up. Chevy Chase characters are not nice characters.
Oh no.
Yes, that was my meaning. I used to play golf, but I always had problems getting the ball in the clown's mouth, says Magic Marmot.
When I was a kid, I memorized European Vacation because we were living in Germany at the time and had been to all those places that they'd gone to.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was a kid, I never got the porno joke of like the fact that like her picture was showing up everywhere in Europe. I never got that. And then as an adult, I saw it and then I was like, oh, that's what that was about. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of adult stuff in there. Like when the kid went to the Oktoberfest and all the Fräuleins had giant tatas and he got to get to second base, I guess it is.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it first base? I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know, it's coming of age movies, they used to call them.
The
And
80s style.
Yeah. And then Heidlich and Company. And then it's Double K Hunk. Or Double K Hulk. I can't speak today.
I think it's like Diabolic, but Diabolic. Diabolic Hulk.
Diabolical Hulk. Diabolical Hulk. You're so smart. You probably figure out license plates too. I have a dyslexia like my brother does, and so like I can read it in my brain, but like trying to say it out loud, I sound dumb. You know, it's like, yeah. And so I do read a lot, but it's like, yeah, it's easier for me to read than it is for me to read aloud. And so, yeah. I don't know, I'm drawing like trees here. Let's see what Scott's doing in panel 1 there. Oh yeah, you gave him glasses. That's right. You gave him glasses.
Tried to.
He's an erudite Ultron.
I wish I could give him the hairline. He kind of does. I got a little reference photo up. He kind of does have that hairline going on. Oops, that's not right at all.
So did you see that article where they sent sonar down underneath one of the pyramids? And they discovered like giant long shafts. I think they were like 62 feet tall they were like 62 kilometers long. Like it was like so ridiculous. And then even under those 8 giant shafts, they had like some other chambers too.
Mm-hmm.
It was,
yeah.
And this was like
around them.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That made me think of the end of Total Recall.
Are you drawing a tie on him?
Oh heck yeah!
Okay, let's give him a tie then.
He's a lawyer Ultron.
He needs a tie.
It'll
And a
probably have
briefcase.
stripes on it.
Yeah, I'm putting stripes on mine too. And then we're just gonna have him like this.
Magic Marmot says he took his niece out to dinner today and he ended up calling it Outbake Stack House. But he says, I like Stakeout Backhouse better. And I wanted to say that when I lived in China, I used to go to Hong Kong once a month to buy my comics. And I'd always go to the Outback Steakhouse and get crab legs every month, like a weirdo. But it was a fun memory. Anyways. And then Diabolic Hulk says, my network is moving slow glitch. I may have to log out. And Magic Marmot says, there's a Minuteman video about the very thing. He's a fun archaeological debunker. Oh yeah, I know who Minuteman is. I watch his stuff because he does a lot of stuff on history too, which I like. But yeah, he is a debunker. So it's not real?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll check it out.
Well,
I'll look for it.
Hoping it was.
Yeah,
me too.
It is cool to think about, but
But they've done stuff like that because one of my favorite shows on National Geographic is called Drain the Oceans. And that's exactly what they do, is where they take like a sonar and like run it along the bed of the ocean.
They use LiDAR. They use LiDAR, not sonar, but
okay.
Yeah, and how LiDAR and sonar differ is sonar uses sound waves, and the sound waves bounce off of things, and then based on the shape of how they bounce back, the distance it takes for it to bounce back, that's how they can determine, kind of the shape of things, right? Well,
So what's LiDAR?
LiDAR is done with lasers and mirrors. And so because it's done with lasers and mirrors, they can be more precise with the actual shape and size of things, and they can know more precisely like what that object is, right? So sonar will tell you, like, we're getting something bouncing off here and it's pretty large, right? And it will show you maybe it's about 60 feet long and it's pretty large, and maybe it's about 40 feet high, but you know to avoid it, but you don't really know what it is, right? LiDAR will show you if it's a whale or a ship or a submarine or a sunken ship or a coral reef.
They did a lot of cool stuff with that in the Amazon.
Yeah, and the cool thing about the stuff that they did in the Amazon was that, I forget his name, but he was a 15th century explorer who went through the Amazon and saw, basically these cultures of gold cities, and everybody was well fed, and these opulent cities and stuff like that. And then 200 years later, people go through the Amazon, they're like, this guy was a crackpot, he was full of it. Well, he had the Columbian exchange, basically like smallpox and stuff, on a ship that had killed these civilizations he encountered, right? And all this LiDAR technology that we have now that is finding these ruins in the Amazon we didn't know were there is justifying his record keeping that he had, that these civilizations existed, because all of these like foundations and stuff we're finding are where he said these cities were. And so, like, for hundreds of years, people thought this guy was full of it. That he was, making it up of these golden cities. And that's where, like, the idea of El Dorado came from. That was where the idea of kind of like, like, I don't want to say like New World Gold, because New World Gold, like, definitely came from Columbus and Cortez and Franz Ferdinand, Francis Drake, like all of these, colonists / explorers that enslaved people and did all this horrible stuff in exchange for gold, right? That's what the that's a lot of where those stories came from too. But the ideas of like the cities of gold and like the golden city of El Dorado and stuff, that came from this guy's journals. And people went to South America looking for these cities and went, he's full of it. But those cities were there. They must have been there. And that's what's crazy is it's like sometimes it takes technology to prove the crackpots right. Like, what was his name? Something Wise. We just went over hand washing. Doctor. Hand washing doctor. What was his name? Something Wise. Ignaz Semmelweis. Do you know who he is? You should. Ignaz Semmelweis saved so many lives. He was an American doctor who realized that midwives had a higher survival rate than doctors in the 1800s in delivering babies, because doctors in the 1800s would go directly from autopsies to delivering babies. And so his whole thing was wash your damn hands. His whole thing, and he was considered a crackpot in his day. He lost his medical license. He ended up in a mental institution. He died of sepsis, which if people just washed their damn hands, he may not have died from. And
That's ironic.
yeah, and his whole thing was like he had the evidence to back it up. What was missing from his equation was germ theory. Germ theory came probably about 30 to 40 years after his research and about 15 years after his death. And so once germ theory came through, then there was an explanation for why washing your hands worked and why you should wash your hands and why this guy was like right and everyone should wash their hands. And then he was validated in his thinking and people now go, oh yes, he was perfectly right. And this is why we should listen to, the evidence of like the studies and stuff rather than the doctrine of what people think they know, right? And they teach this cautionary tale about the guy who just says, just wash your damn hands. And, every time you go into surgery, surgeons have to wash their hands. Every time, a doctor, before they see a patient, they have to wash their hands, right? After they see a patient, they're supposed to wash their hands, right? And if they just wash their damn hands, so much sickness goes away because they're not carrying that sickness from one patient to another. And yeah, so Ignaz Semmelweis, he was considered a crackpot in his day, but years later they realized he was right. And he was absolutely justified in his thinking. He couldn't explain why he was right because he didn't have the missing piece of germ theory. So yes, that is enough about my sciencey lecture for today, I guess. I don't know. Maybe not. Okay.
Magic Marmot said he was vindicated, and the fly roper enjoyed it.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. You see, IRC is not IRC. It's not the Amazon. It's the Yucatan. But it's amazing. They're discovering whole city layouts. Yeah, the hand washing guy. Ground penetrating radar is a whole nother beast. Yeah, LiDAR also doesn't disturb the object it's being aimed at unless it's light sensitive. There's a Minuteman video about that very thing. He's a fun archaeological debunker. Yeah, my network is moving slow. Okay, I'm all caught up now. So Diabolical Hulk sometimes is streaming in a truck bed. Where like he's in a truck and then like a big truck, a big semi truck, and how they have the cab in the back. And so like he might be on any random Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Black Hulk. The Black Hulk.
Oh, the Black Hulk. Oh, that makes sense. The Black
And now
Hulk.
there's somebody that's actually spelt it out. I don't know if it's the same person.
Yes, the Black Hulk. Okay,
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, I guess he's on YouTube, and then he went to YouTube from Twitch because Twitch kept glitching out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Discord.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. All right. So let's do panel 3. And you're still on panel 1, so I'll do panel 3.
Yes, thank you. I am slow go. I'm trying to,
Capture the scary Ultron vibe.
Robots are not easy to do.
Robots are never easy.
They're fun though.
Yeah. I don't know. Do robots just want to have fun?
Some of them.
Okay.
Skynet's not around, bullying them into taking over civilization.
So what happens next after he presents his evidence? What happens next?
The judge and jury have to decide what to do.
Well, we did talk about having 13 Spaders on the jury. Yes, the jury of Spaders confer. I think that should be our caption.
Excellent line. Excellent.
Yes. Confer. All right, we can do that. And now I have to draw a bunch of Spaders. Great, now I have to draw a bunch of Spaders.
That's not.
It's not bad. I don't mind drawing James Spader. There's worse Spaders. There's worse actors to draw.
Name one.
I don't think there's any other Spaders though, actually.
Clint Howard.
He's a Spader?
No, I think Clint Howard would be a worst actor to draw. Like Clint Howard is he's a very nice man. I have met him before because he has a house in Big Bear. Not a very attractive man. Knows this about himself. Knows he is a typecast actor, as like he uses this. He is a character actor, and uses that to his best avail. But not the most attractive man. The jury of Spaders confers. Let's see. I wasn't sure if you knew it was me, Glitch. Yes, I do know it's you. I figured it out through the breadcrumb trail of likes and stuff. I went, oh, that's him. But I wasn't sure. Now I see that it's the Black Hawk on YouTube. And now I see you over here. I don't see you over here because you're not in that chat anymore, but I see you over here. So yeah. So if I miss you, it's not because I'm trying to. I just, and I got to fix it over here, but I usually have a sound cue when I get a chat message, and my sound cue is not working right now. So I just have to keep an eye on all chats, which is not bad. But that's why I'm not responding right away, is because my chats are not doing stuff. How is your knitting going, Robin?
Good. It's going good. We've got lots of potential bunnies.
Yay!
So what I do is I stuff them. Maybe some fat little bunnies like that.
Yeah.
And then their ears come up like this. And then I sew a little tail on them.
Nice.
Fat little bunnies.
And then you give them out to friends and family?
Yeah. Accumulate bunnies. The army of bunnies.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I feel like
I'm not sure what Magic Marmot's talking about, but he's referring Debbie Spader, a different Spader actor.
Sell shoes out of Robertson's in the big mall outside of Des Moines and found out they're laying off 2 of her coworkers, and she had to pick up the slack.
What, is she on the jury?
yeah, like I don't know, like maybe a different Spader. Let's see. I'll do this. And let's see. I guess I could have like the Spaders like all kind of talking conspiratorially, right? Like,
Well, they are conferring, right?
yeah, you know.
We can talk about different Spaders. There's no Spader rule.
I kind of like the idea that they were all James Spader, though. I don't know. I guess there's no Spader rule.
You gotta throw one curveball in there. But I don't know any other Spaders.
Debbie Spader could be his mom.
Here, wait. Debbie's trans, says Magic Marmot.
Oh, is she a real person?
Let's see. When you type in Spader actor, James Spader is the only one that comes up. Let me try IMDb.
Okay, so I think Magic Marmot was telling us a story because Debbie is not real.
No, I'm just seeing who comes up under Spader. There's
I'd be curious to know too.
Set director, Sex Lies and Videotape, Victoria Spader. Editorial department for Machete, Sebastian Spader. Sound department for Uncharted, Elijah Spader.
Spader.
Spader, which is actor Spader Our Song. Erona Spader, actress, Jack Hardy's Guide to Blackjack. And the Queen of Spades, Anton Walbrook. So Erona Spader seems to be the only other Spader. And that's for Jack Hardy's Guide to Blackjack. She's a dancer. That's the only other Spader with an IMDb credit who has an acting credit as an IMDb credit on IMDb with the last name Spader. Is this Erona Spader? Now I have to find out what Erona Spader looks like. I think she's going to be our Debbie Spader.
I would think it'd be interesting if all those Spaders you mentioned are on the jury.
Erona Spader's black.
Nice.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. We are going to throw in Erona Spader. She belongs there. Yes. Now this will be a deep cut. Okay. So we'll throw in Erona Spader. And yeah, I'll take some time with this one. Yeah, let me know when you're ready to move on to the next panel.
Oh, you want me to put some grays in here real quick?
Yeah, if you want.
It'll look a lot better.
Yeah, like I said, if you want.
Kind of looks like an aged Ninja Turtle, honestly.
I think you should put in the white space above him, pro bono defense lawyer. Ultron Spader, pro bono defense lawyer, like his card or something up in that white space there.
I should have had his hand up with the card.
I'm here to defend my new best friend.
You know, I just realized that by having so many James Spaders out here in like this Escherverse that we've designed for ourselves implies that James Spader is not of this earth.
James
well, there's
Spader
at least
is not of this
one.
earth?
Yeah, it implies that James Spader is not of this earth.
There's
You know?
at least one.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's very valid. There's a whole slew of alternate reality Spaders.
You know, and I'm not saying that as like a bad thing. I'm just saying that, you know, it's just an implication there.
There's lots of implications.
I don't know. Maybe James Spader is a minor Bowie. You know, Black Hulk, what's your YouTube page? It's the Black Hulk. Here, let me copy it. And I'll write it in the Twitch page.
I think we got a bot. Somebody's advertising cheap viewers on Streamboo.
Yep, I'm getting rid of it.
Cheap
I got
what?
Boop,
Cheap viewers.
it's gone.
Yeah, I might be interested.
People to watch you draw.
Yeah.
She's
Man. That's what I'm doing wrong. I forgot. I had to pay for viewers. I always forget these things.
You're also supposed to be talking to the Russians on a regular basis, and that's not a political reference. That's just you can pay them to do stuff for you reference.
I'm supposed to be talking to Russians on a regular basis?
Yeah, like you can get them to pretend to be like 80 billion different people so that it looks like you have 80 billion different people watching your show. I know that that teen Russians, when they're bored, apparently try to hack my website.
Huh. Yay.
They're just like really computer savvy, and you can hire them to do unscrupulous things.
Yeah, because that's exactly what I want.
I was just joking.
Oh, I know. I'm just like I don't know. I don't understand the want to destroy what another person creates. You know, it's not you, right? It's like you know, I am part of a bunch of solo game development groups and stuff in a variety of places online. And you know, I listen to what these people talk about. I encourage them when they share their stuff. You know, someday I want to build a video game that I've designed on paper that Magic Marmot sub to Black Hulk. That's very sweet. Anyway, so there's a game that I've designed on paper someday I want to make. And so I've subscribed to these things, and a guy was talking about the other day where he's made a game, and it's on Steam, and it's been out on Steam for like 2 weeks, and somebody snagged up a URL.com with his game name and then made an AI website that looks like it's an official website that like links off to a cheap copy of his game.
Oh, fuck.
Right?
Yeah, like that's like those girls that design stuff, and then like, you know, Shein and all those other companies have like, you know, made their own copies of them. Pretty unscrupulous.
You know, and it's like this guy's like, what do I do? You know, what are my options? And you know, everybody's like, you know, well, did you copyright it? Did you do this? Did you do that? And you know, he did take some steps, like he copyrighted it and you know, different things like that. But it was like, it breaks your heart, you know? This guy made a game and somebody's first reaction is, I'm gonna rip off this guy.
Yeah,
right?
well, it's also too like those guys in the artist alley who like take other people's art and then add like a couple of circles with like a spray paint tool, and they're like, okay, this is my art.
Yeah.
I know like one of my friends is one of the guest recruiters for Fan Expo, and they've really made a concerted effort to A, crack down on AI art in the artist alley, and B, also like get rid of those kind of artists where they're just like hacking from other people and then, you know, making money off of it.
I wish Fan Expo Denver was as scrupulous. When I was there last time, I counted in Artist Alley probably about 20 to 22 different AI artists. You know, like in the booths, there's probably in Artist Alley maybe about 60 different booths for the like independent, like here I am carting stuff to my booth. I'm going to sell prints, or I'm going to sell, you know, paintings, or I'm going to sell my book or whatever it is in Artist Alley. And like something like 22 of those were AI generated crap.
Lame.
You know? And it's like, it was like so obvious, you know? It's like, if they had submitted something or whatever, and it's like, it wasn't obvious or whatever, but if there was people walking around and they're like, well, that's obviously AI, you're removed from the floor. I would have felt okay about that, but there wasn't. They let them at the convention. They were welcome. It's like that old saying that if you let wolves and sheep at the table, you're only going to get wolves at the table.
Very true.
So I don't know. It's just bothers me.
Very, very true.
So yeah, I wish they were a little bit more scrupulous about it. It bothered me that they didn't do their due diligence. And there's one thing when somebody who doesn't do AI art is accused of doing AI. Oh, this is so good, it must be AI, right?
Yeah, that's lame.
But that person can always prove that they didn't do AI art, right? They can show
their process. Yeah.
To that piece, they can show a mountain of other work that they've done, right?
It just gets easier and easier to tell, though.
But for how much longer? Because the whole point of it is that it's learning all the time at an insanely rapid pace to quickly emulate us.
Yeah. Well, what I've heard is also it's picking up. It's actually learning from AI generated stuff, and so now it's kind of gone
the opposite way.
Yeah, it's gone. It's kind of it's. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but it's hallucinating. Inbreeding. It's kind of inbreeding, and it's actually going the other direction, which I'm all for.
Yeah. A bunch of the quarterly reports for Fortune 500 companies came out over the last week or two. And Microsoft's CEO basically had to admit to the shareholders that Microsoft's AI outreaches have produced no income for the company.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit torn because AI generated art on its own is absolute garbage, but I do use a lot of the tools, the tools in Photoshop that are generative AI. Not to create anything per se.
You mean like get rid of a rock and because I've seen that where somebody had taken pictures of birds at a sunset, and then they had a rock, and they were circling the rock and literally telling it, get rid of the rock.
Well, yeah, you can definitely do that.
Yeah.
And it's funny when it screws up too, because if you try to remove people, sometimes it'll put a different person in there. So that's always funny, but but no, I do a lot of social media stuff. I work with a lot of stock photography. And so I need to fit photos into different formats. And so what it'll do is you can actually pull the crop handle, the crop tool, and you can pull the handles out as opposed to in, and it will it'll fill in the blanks.
That's
so
crazy.
it helps with my image selection has been limited in the past, but now I can do whatever because you can actually take a landscape, formatted photo and fit it in, and make it into portrait.
Yeah.
And fit it into, because you got your Instagram square and your Facebook rectangle.
Yeah.
And you gotta make a story. Which is that's horrible. Yeah. So it actually allows me to just select a photo and just use it as opposed to like, you know, take that into consideration. So I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying. Like, but for me, AI, there's a difference between using it as a tool and replacing the toolbox with it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
When you get it to fill anything in, do you get like those crazy, creepy monster images? Like I saw, there's like a 360 AI filler. So for example, they had a picture of a dog at the window, looking out the window, and you just saw the back of the dog. And then when they did the 360 turn, it had like a human face and like really creepy.
They turn into like
yeah.
They turn into like bipeds and stuff.
Yeah.
That's
monstrous humanoids.
That is just too weird for me. But
it's a learning.
Yeah, right.
It'll get better over time.
And then we'll have to be kind to our robot overlords.
I have a whole folder on my hard drive that is all AI fails, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like again, like I was working on a video and I had to remove someone from the background so I could, you know, isolate from the background, whatever. But it actually like put another person in there. All right, what's
Oh, James Spader with your shirt off.
Whoa, hey. This is a children's show.
It is not.
You know, I know it 100% isn't. What happened to my text that I put in there? I guess I'll retype it.
Hey, I hate to do this to you guys, but I think I'm gonna bail. I had to go into work early today because our elevators are broken, and so I had to go up and down steps a lot with food and stuff.
Okay, no worries. I will talk
and I'm
to you later.
literally falling asleep, and you don't need me to do that.
Aw, it's okay. We will say goodnight to you, Robin. Good night, Robin.
Good night.
Yes.
It's nice meeting you, Scott.
And
you too.
Chad says goodnight to you, Robin. I'm sure they'll catch up in a minute and say so. And yes, so have a good evening. We will see you next week. Next week we have Catherine White as our artist, and now she's gone. So yes, so next week we have Catherine White as our artist, and so I will let her know off camera about Catherine and stuff. But yeah, so we'll just draw Spaders. And we got 22 minutes until the end of the show.
All right, I'm calling this one.
Yay! Hello. I thought you were gone.
I swear.
Hey, bye. Okay. So you're calling that one? Okay, that puts you on panel 4.
Okay. I'm going to actually open a new... I'm not going to give you one document with a bunch of stuff on here.
Okay, where'd your caption go?
Huh?
Where'd your
Up
caption
at the top
go?
where she suggested?
No, that's not where it goes.
Okay, well then...
Caption goes at the bottom.
Well, then there we go. Listen.
Yes.
I
artist. Me.
I'm rearranging the layers so I can actually see it.
Let the Spaders hand a verdict to the judge, says Magic Marmot. I'm looking at it as a tool for filmmaking. I'm amazed at the photorealism. AI is fine if it's represented as AI generated. Yeah, like to me, I don't. If somebody says like I used AI to make this, right? Yeah,
I've seen some pretty wacky videos where, I mean, they're just so ridiculous that actually it does somehow have some kind of artistic merit, because it's just not like one prompt, hit go type of stuff. They're actually, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's where I get torn, you know?
Well, okay, so like I said, when it's used as one of the tools in the box, I'm fine with that, right? I've seen generative AI stuff where people have had a dancer doing a dance routine, and then they have told a program to produce smoke from the dancer dancing, right? So the dancer is doing their dance, and it's an artistic expression of what they're doing, but then it looks like this dance is made from smoke. You know what I mean? Because of the motion capture that's done of the dancer, and then it's like, it like creates this animation of smoke dancing, right? What it did is it took the artistic expression of the dance, and it melded it with its scans of smoke, and it made something that didn't exist before, but it had to have that artistic expression first to make it something you wanted to look at, right? And again, I would so hope that the dancer wanted their stuff to be mocapped. And that's the biggest problem I have with AI right now too, is the scraping of copyrighted material. Right? You know, no one's getting paid what they should for like their stuff getting copied by machines. And then people are like, yeah, I want this drawn in the style of Stephen Russell Black, and all of his stuff has been scanned. Right? And the computer can make stuff in the style of Stephen Russell Black. So you don't have to pay Stephen Russell Black. You can have the computer make it for you. Right? And it doesn't look like his stuff. It kind of looks like his stuff, but it doesn't have his soul in it, and it wasn't made by him.
Did you say panel 3?
Yeah, you're on panel 4.
Oh.
Yeah, you're on panel 4.
What's my caption?
We have the suggestion that they hand the verdict to the judge. And I think that's going to be a good suggestion.
Hold on. The text tool isn't working.
Well, that sounds like a personal problem.
You know, it happens to everybody. It's perfectly normal. Perfectly natural.
They make pills for that.
They do.
They do.
They make blue chews for that.
Blue chews? Got it. Let's see. Good night. The Spaders handed verdict to the judge. It's a very similar argument that musicians have made for their music being pirated. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you know, as you say that, I am playing AI music at this moment. So I am part of the problem.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So it's like, you know, but that's because I can't afford, like, if I had a musician come up with 2 hours of music that I could play for the show, you know, and that's like the theme for the show every week or whatever, like I would use that, but instead I'm using whatever randomly shows up in the AI bot. You know, I really wish I could I don't know. I need to be more true to my values.
What does the judge even look like?
He's a Spader. He's a Spader with glasses.
And a white wig.
And a white wig. Yeah, he has a white wig.
Of course, the powdered wig.
Yes, I use AI tools to help me do some coding. Tools are good.
Oh, what happened?
Is that your dog?
Yes.
Aw, you have a dog.
I do. I didn't want him, but he's all right.
What do you mean you didn't want a dog?
I didn't. We're not allowed to have dogs here.
Well, how'd you end up with an illegal dog?
Well, because my ex decided that she doesn't need to follow the rules. And so he got classified as a emotional support animal so that they can't say no. And here we are.
Now you have a dog.
Yeah.
And so Even though she's not there anymore, and it was classified as her emotional support
No,
animal?
my daughter's.
Oh, I see.
So that works out.
Oh, so it's your daughter's emotional support animal.
Yes.
Yes. And your daughter's the 17-year-old?
Yes.
17.
I know. You keep reminding me.
Well, she realizes now that you are a flawed human being, and she hates you for it.
Oh, of course.
You know, and it's okay, because every child has to go through that.
The rite of passage.
It is a rite of passage, you know, and then they reach a point in their early 20s where they realize that everybody's a flawed human being and their parents were just doing their best.
Right.
You know, and then they're like, sorry, I was such a dick, Mom. You know, and they're better, right? But they have to go through the why weren't you absolutely perfect in every way as my parent stage? You know, we all went through it. We all went through it. Right? And so so it's not you. You know, it's not that you're a terrible parent or anything, you know, and what would make you a terrible parent is if you stopped caring and you just let her do whatever the hell she wanted.
Right.
Right?
I mean, she's not that bad.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying is, like, if you're caring and you're still trying to raise a viable human being,
She has her moments, but the question is, does the powdered wig have the receding hairline?
So this is what it looks like. This is what the judge looks like. Let me put me up in the middle. That's what the judge looks like.
Oh, that's good. That's better. Oh my goodness.
That was our last artist. That was Casey Craddock.
Well, you can kind of see it.
Yeah. So his receding hairline is underneath the wig.
It's kind of coming through.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what it looks like.
It's coming through a little bit.
Yeah.
God, I hate what I just did, and now I'm like my hand's getting warmed up, and I don't know why.
Remember, perfect is the enemy of done.
Huh?
Perfect is the enemy of done.
Yeah, pretty much, huh?
You know, that's not what the show's about. The show is about quickly telling stories, having fun. You know, it's not about drawing beautiful pictures. Sometimes you draw a beautiful picture. Sometimes one does come out.
Right.
And, we have Lucidriel Morningstar. Hi, Lucidriel. Thank you very much. And then Lucidriel said, that is a nice art. I think referring to the Spader judge. And
it is.
Also, Snow White has come
It's
in
intimidating.
your Philippines. It lasted 2 days, but was now out of the box office. Yeah. Snow White was not very good. So that does not surprise me that it's out of the box office already. Yeah, you know all the Snow White controversy, right?
I mean, kind of.
You're not all up on every little tidbit of internet drama, even though you have a teenage daughter.
Yeah, she doesn't. She doesn't care. She can care less. She has to go. She got volunteered to take my girlfriend's little kids to go see it.
Yeah.
Because she's not gonna go.
Yeah. Yeah. So long of the short of it is Renee Zellweger, the star of Snow White, is dumb in front of a camera when she doesn't have lines to read. She doesn't know how to play the game of, like, like advertising her stuff. She doesn't know how to like, you know, like she doesn't know how to like pay homage to like, you know, past things and you know, acknowledge that like stuff came before or whatever. And she puts her foot in her mouth a lot. And so like years ago, she said that the prince, while they have an actor for the prince, his character might get cut at any minute. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. And you know, the princess saves herself, and you know, we don't need to have that old out-of-date story of like the princess gets saved by the dude, and who cares about the old story, right?
Right.
And Snow White is an outdated story. I will give it that, but it was also one of the first animated movies. Well, it was the first animated full-length film ever. It was the first full-length film to use the multi-plane camera in animation. It used Technicolor in animation. Prior to that, they had only done 3 tests in Technicolor. After that, Technicolor was used for all of their animations.
Well, and everything else too.
Yeah, and everything else. So it was a huge thing for Technicolor. They gave it a special Oscar, a technical Oscar with 7 little tiny Oscars after the big Oscar, because it was such an achievement in technology. Just technology wise, for what they were able to achieve. They figured out so much in animation for doing that, right? And as Magic Marmot says, the story is folklore. You know, it's a very, very old story. So you acknowledge that. Acknowledge it's an old story, you know? We'll update it a little bit, right? But, you know, say how great the original movie was. And she kind of, like, shat on the original movie.
Yeah,
And,
that's what I heard.
Yeah, and it's like...
Sitting on it.
It put... Considering that Disney built its empire on Snow White and Mickey Mouse, and those are the 2, like, sacred things at Disney, right? Is freaking Snow White and Mickey Mouse. And she took a big shit all over Snow White. Huge shit. And you don't do that. You don't do that. And Disney, if they're the hand that's feeding you, why are you nibbling on that hand? Why are you chewing on that hand? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? It makes no sense.
I don't know.
Snow Brown, says Magic
Hollywood is
Marmot.
just retarded.
Let's see. And then, okay, I have no hate of Rachel. She has a pretty face, good vocals. Yeah, she's an excellent singer, and she can act. I will give you that. But let's say she is not fair. I am sorry, I'm not being racist, but Snow White is fair. It's like saying Cleopatra is black, even though she is, I'm guessing, Macedonian Greek. Yeah,
I'm probably making it worse because I've heard the same thing.
Yeah.
But she's pretty light skinned.
She's a Latina.
She is what you call light skinned. So you know what? I don't know if they took that into account, but that's where my mind goes.
That doesn't even bother me, okay? Because they're obviously making their own versions of reality. If you see the kingdom that she is, you know, the princess of, the kingdom itself has like black people, you know, Indian people, white people, Asian people, like all in one kingdom. So it's like this like metropolitan kingdom. So fine, whatever. She's considered white in the metropolitan kingdom. Fine, whatever. I will accept that. I'm not even going to go to like the racist places or whatever of the fact that they cast a Latina as Snow White, a fair a person whose white as skin as snow, and it was described that way because when her mother was sewing pricked her needle on or pricked her finger on a needle, and then drops of blood into the snow and saw the red.
Isn't that a different story though?
No, it was the red of the blood against the white of the snow. And that's what made her want to name her daughter Snow White, because it made her think of the red of her daughter's lips against the white of her skin.
I thought that was Sleeping Beauty or something.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was Snow White. It could be. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. She's rather be doing something that's socially progressive. Well, and here's another thing too, okay? Her co-star is Gal Gadot, who was trained as an Israeli sniper and has at least 4 confirmed kills.
Nice.
For the Israeli military.
Always good.
And like conscription is a huge part about being born in Israel and fighting for the land that you're born in when you're Jewish and you believe that this is your land and you live there and Israel you will defend, right? And Renee Zellweger was saying some very anti-Israeli things, and Gal Gadot is very pro-Israel, and so the two of them do not get along at all, and they're supposed to go on this press tour with each other, and they hate each other because of their politics.
That's why I don't participate.
Yeah, the white in the folklore speaks to the purity and innocence, says Magic Marmot. Also, Snow White is outdated, but doesn't make her a counter to modern women. But Snow White woman empowerment comes from being fair as an equal kind, and the fact that in a hostile environment she is able to compose herself and not be hardened by her surrounding. To me, that is girl power. A woman who is unbreakable. Rachel Zegler, I think it is. Renee Zegler was Bridget Jones. I'm sorry, Rachel Zegler. I'm sorry, not Renee Zegler. You're right. Renee Zegler. Yeah, Rachel Zegler. I'm sorry. I was getting them right, or I was getting them wrong. I'm sorry. By the way, we have 2 minutes, so I'm gonna see what you're doing for your judge.
I got to do a little foreground and then the verdict being handed.
Good. I like him.
See, it's a little better.
Well, and again, like I was the one trying to go like.
That's fine. That's fine. If you ever invite me back, I'll work on my. You know what I want to get? I want to get one of the tablets that's actually a screen.
Yeah, I have one. It's awesome.
I hate you.
I have a Huion instead of a Cintiq, and it's like a fraction of the cost, and it works just as well.
There's just still like when I get warmed up, I can get warmed up and like start able to like feel the connection there, but there's a definite disconnect.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I see Rachel and Godot being together is like smelling burning plastic. It's like the fakest smile. Yeah. Well, and the Critical Drinker is a YouTuber that I watch. I don't always agree with. I am not the biggest Critical Drinker fan. When he talks about the message, I don't always agree with him because he will find ways to say that something is speaking the message, and he will say that this is that, and it's like, dude, now you're just shoving it into places that it's like not even there. Just watch the story. Or he'll be mad that a movie's not for him, and not every movie needs to be for you. And it's like, sometimes it's okay to just let people enjoy things. It's like, he was mad that the Marvels wasn't for him, right? And the Marvels wasn't for him. It was for, chicks who like Marvel movies. It was for the female comic fans. And there really aren't that many of them, like me included. And the story was okay. It was okay. It's fun to fold laundry to. It wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't as terrible as he laid it out to be as like the worst movie ever. I thought it was fun. What I didn't like about it was the fact that they expected me to watch like 2 Marvel shows on Disney Plus and like completely catch up with those prior to watching the Marvels and all of the movies and stuff prior to watching the Marvels and know exactly what was going on with everything. And I didn't watch like the Miss Marvel show. And so I was like in the dark for half of it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Also, I would rather let my niece for the princess to fall in love with a prince than falling in love with a bandit. Also, the whistle while you work is so woke, too woke, I feel blind. Well, Amber, this old lady is going to call it a night. Good night. Much to my kitten's chagrin, given she's settled down on my chest at the moment, you have a good night, and thank you for streaming. Oh, thank you, Tangent. I'll see you next week. Same Philo time, same Philo channel. Snow is crushed and goes all inside, dead to the world in the glass coffin. Yeah. Let's see. The prince represents the kind heart, recognizing her true value and giving her a partner that can provide happiness. See, for me...
Whatever, she's a gold digger.
A gold digger?
Yeah.
She's a gold digger?
Yeah.
See, for me, like Snow White is when she's originally brought out to the forest to pick apples with the huntsman's supposed to bring back her heart in a box, right? And he can't do it because she's so innocent that he kills a deer and he brings back a deer's heart in the box and convinces the queen that the heart in the box is the deer's heart, right? That's the original story. And so he's like, get out of here. And she runs into the woods. And that's when she runs into the 7 dwarves. And so the huntsman is kind of like dooming her to death by just saying, go out into the woods, not knowing that the dwarves are there. And, but he's like not doing the act himself. And it's like, it kind of goes back to that like Greek thought that if you didn't kill the person yourself, you're not guilty of the sin of killing them. And so like Oedipus, for example, like there's this prophecy that he was going to kill his father and marry his mother, right? And so when he was a little baby, what they did is they ran a rod through his ankles and then they just left him out in a field to die. Because if the elements killed him, then it's the god's choice that Oedipus died, right? And it's not the parents who sinned and killed him. And then that's when the king from the alternative or from the neighboring kingdom comes across him and is like, what is this baby doing with this rod between his ankles? And he takes him home and he's like, let's raise its baby. And then he raises him up. He becomes Oedipus. He kills his father, the neighboring kingdom, and then marries his mother, realizes that he was actually the son of this kingdom, claws out his eyes. Right, and then he said,
Good times.
Yeah, good times. But
with these old fairy tales too, with the Disney's readapted, you got to go back to the original stories were like way more horrible.
Yeah, they changed the original lyrics, and as you sweep the room, imagine that the broom is someone that you love, and soon you'll find you're dancing to the tune, and was woke and changed it to, and as you sweep the floor, what used to be bore will feel just like a game and not the same old chore it was before. Okay, what was wrong with all of her animal friends helping her? What was wrong with that?
They don't do that whole scene?
No. Instead, it's the weird CGI, half mocap, half animated monstrosities they're calling the dwarves. Really, I'm sorry. They should have been little people in that role. Like, how many times has this movie been made and remade, and they've never put like little people in that role?
Well, it's funny because my girlfriend was going through a Wizard of Oz phase and was rewatching it a couple times and did not know that the Munchkins were actually little people mostly.
Yeah.
Like, did they get a bunch of kids to play that and everything? And I'm like, no. I told her the whole story is about how they would run the Hollywood streets at night.
Yeah.
After filming, And
yeah,
now there's still a little town in, well, I hate to say little, but
yeah,
there's still a little, there's a town in Santa Barbara where they all settled.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a tourist attraction. They don't want it to be, but you can drive through, and it's just like a little miniature town where they all settled.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of stories of around that time of the little people, being rambunctious around Hollywood at that time, because there was just so many of them.
Partying that night.
Yeah, there's just so many of them, and they did have children in the scene where they are singing "Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead," and when they're singing, when they're singing about them being the people of Munchkin Land and stuff like that, and all of them are kind of coming up and stuff. Like the little ballerinas that come up, those were little girls. Those weren't little people. And then in the back, along with the little people who were in front, they had some younger children behind them in costume.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No. She thought that it's under the impression that it was all.
Why fly, Roper?
Oh, no.
Yeah. In the 2025, it's Snow telling the dwarves to clean their rooms. In 1937, Snow White used the song to clean with the animals. Also, misunderstanding, Snow White didn't clean the home for the 7 dwarfs. She thought that there were 7 orphans who doesn't have a mother and decided to clean to surprise them. And maybe with that gesture, they will allow her to stay. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, because she realized she was breaking into their home and she needed a warm place to sleep. And she's like, well, maybe I could do this. And then she was so tired after cleaning with the animals all day, she passed out in their bed. And they come home after a long day of working in the mines, and they're like, who is this person in our bed?
And they're pissed.
And they're pissed. Yeah, because they're tired. Is this bitch in their bed? And she's taking up the whole thing? How far are you from finishing?
Like a second. I need to draw some little majesty around the verdict.
Girl, she didn't even clean. She just swept, or she just slept. Yeah. No, she didn't earn it. No, it bothers me that they felt that they needed to remake the classic, and Paul Dini, who is a very famous writer in Hollywood and comics, if you don't know who he is. He's worked on Batman the Animated Series. He worked on Animaniacs. He worked on Freakazoid. He's worked on like Justice League and Green Lantern and Tiny Toon Adventures and Pinky and the Brain and all of this amazing stuff. That, like, if you look up his IMDb credits, they're just amazing. And he had an excellent idea that there was a song that was cut from the original that they had all of the original sound to, and they had the pencils to, but they never finished it because they ran out of money and they ran out of time for their theatrical release date. And he said, rather than spending all of this money on this stupid live action version that no one wants to watch, why didn't they just finish that scene and then re-release it with this brand new scene that no one had seen before?
Well,
right?
Some of it is too why Disney remakes all this stuff is to keep it from falling back into public domain.
Oh, Lucidriel Morningstar says, what goes up goes down. It's ironic that the movie that brought Disney to the spotlight is also the same movie that brings them to their lowest. Because it's the Hollywood system. Because it's Hollywood, baby.
Well, they've been there before. I just watched an interesting little piece on the making of Roger Rabbit.
Oh, I saw that.
That's a great story, yeah.
Yeah, and Robert Zemeckis is my favorite living director. Like, don't get me wrong, Steven Spielberg is so talented, and so many of his films are like some of my favorites, but Robert Zemeckis is a problem solver. And Robert Zemeckis also never sacrifices the story for anything else, right? Whereas Steven Spielberg, he has sacrificed the story for spectacle. And I can't get behind that. Zemeckis, on the other hand, he has sacrificed spectacle for story, right? You know, there's some awesome stuff he wanted to do in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but he knew that if he did it, it would detract from the story. And so he cut it out. You know, and he's one of those believers in kill your babies, because your babies are usually the ones pulling down the story. When Rachel ate the apple, she had a 20-second before falling asleep, like, girl, just sleep. I didn't ask for you to give me an essay to sleep. Yeah, no, I'm not impressed. She can belt out the numbers. I've heard her singing. And then West Side Story, again, talking about Spielberg. Spielberg heard her singing somewhere, you know, because she is a little rich girl, and he was in someone's house where she lived, and she was doing her vocal lessons, and he's like, wow, you can sing, and I'm working on this movie, and I need somebody to play Maria. And everyone thought that she was going to be this great starlet, and she fell into that thinking that she's like, I'm going to be this great starlet. I'm discovered by Steven Spielberg. I'm going to be amazing. And it, you know, you got to earn it. You got to earn it. You can't just, you can't just expect it, you know? You got to earn it. When the director is allowed to create a vision, it can be good. Most movies are made by a committee of MBA working on spreadsheets and cocaine. When the bandit gave Rachel a kiss, me in my head, herpes. Yeah.
No. Not again.
Yeah. Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, what was Flynn's last name in Tangled? Because he was a bandit, and we don't feel as bad about him kissing her. You know, that seems like a lot more realistic love story, even though he's like kind of gonna use her to his own ends for most of it, until he realizes, like, oh yeah, I probably shouldn't do that because she's a nice person. I swear, if they made Princess and the Frog, I swear, Disney, I dare you. Oh, you mean a live action version of Princess and the Frog? Yeah, with realistic looking frogs.
All right,
Bad Boy
I think
with
I've
the
done
heart
all
of
the
gold.
damage I can
Yeah.
on this one. You might want to maybe, you know, we get bored.
All right, are you ready? Are you done?
What do you think?
I think we're done. I think that's good. And we'll find out what the verdict is next episode. So let me close up the arts. We saw yours.
Yours are way better. I'm going home.
Well, I've been doing the show longer than you.
No, I know. You've been drawing longer than me.
I keep drawing.
No, actually, jokes aside, like that's true. That's true.
I wasn't
if
joking.
we logged drawing hours, like.
I wasn't joking. I keep drawing.
No, yeah, and I wish I
Yeah.
could. I try to. I really try to.
Just keep a sketchbook, dude.
No, I do.
we've
I have
had this discussion.
I have a whole shelf full of black books, and it pains me to say that I haven't been, you know, because I used to. I don't know if you knew me back then, but I used to be like drawing all over napkins and stuff and scraps of whatever, and just leaving them around. And then
Yeah.
I decided to start these sketchbooks, and I just carried them with me all the time. And they're just full of
Yes.
stuff.
Yes,
I have
I was
one-
the one who
I have
got you
one.
on
Hold on, I have
sketchbooks.
one full of you.
I was the one who got you started on sketchbooks. I was like,
I can't find
why
it at
aren't
the
you
moment.
doing sketchbooks? What's with this napkin stuff? You can't keep a record of napkins.
No, because I would just leave it or give it to somebody.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know where it is at the moment, but I have one full. Just like you've got more pages in there than I do.
Yeah, I think most of them are like Red Dahlia pages. I have like a sketchbook or two that has a couple drawings of yours in there. I have the Frogger is also cursed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what about that controversial
Yeah.
little piece?
Yes, I have that one, and then the false idol, the one with the bloody eyes. You remember that I drew the same night?
Oh, geez, that I don't remember much from that night.
I do.
To be perfectly honest.
No, that was a good night.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember going from disappointed to let's get some crayons.
Well, was it disappointed because like the shrooms didn't hit right away, or what?
Well, yeah, we thought for sure we got ripped off or something.
No, it was your ex-girlfriend who showed up high as fuck on shrooms.
Called out of the blue.
Shrooms.
Yeah, called out of the blue and was like, "Do anybody want to buy these shrooms?" I'm like, I've got you over, and I'm like, no, bye.
And I'm like, why not us?
I'm like, well, don't we? And I'm like, okay, let me call her back. But yeah, we made tea, and then we drank the tea, and like 45 minutes had gone by.
Well, no,
oh,
we
man.
had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Did you?
Yeah.
I remember mixing it into some hot water.
And I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because I'm like, no, I want to eat it. And you're like, no, I'm going to make tea. I'm going to drink it. And so we had different experiences because we ingested it differently. And it hit me much harder than it hit you.
Oh my God. It wasn't light. It wasn't light. Let me tell you that much.
Yeah.
But yeah. For a minute, I thought we got ripped off. And then something funny happened and we never stopped laughing for another 8 hours.
Well, that's when my friend Sean.
I was just gonna say, yeah, he was hanging out with us. And he's like, I'm gonna leave you guys to it. You guys lost me.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't talked to him in years. I
haven't heard from him either.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him in years, and so I don't even know what's going on with him. Right. Once in a while, I'll poke an eye at his Instagram, and he seems happy, but I don't even follow his Instagram.
Well, it's better than just falling off of the planet.
Yeah.
Because there's people from back then I wouldn't even know. Yeah, they're just gone.
Yeah.
You remember Gregory at the cafe?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gone. I don't know what happened to him. He lost his cabinet shop at some point, and then was living in a halfway house. And then I haven't heard from him in at least 10 years.
Jeez.
So he's probably still in that white van patrolling the naval station.
Yeah. Well, there is some interesting folk at that place, but it was the Westminster Cafe that we're talking about, which is a 24-hour greasy spoon along, I want to say, what, the 5 or the 405?
No, it was right underneath the 405 freeway.
Yeah,
which I might add is now gone.
The cafe's gone?
It's gone, bulldozed, completely gone. They struggled a bit after COVID and stayed open for a little while, and I would say mid last year, gone. I don't even know what's there right now.
Oh yes, it's probably not a huge loss.
Well, yeah, it was right. Well, the Crackhead Motel is still there. That was right next door.
Oh, of course, that's because they sell by the hour. Of course, they have a business plan.
I got so much material. I have so many good little comic strips just from sitting on that patio.
Yeah.
I have one of my favorites is where I burned it down.
Yeah.
I didn't physically burn it down, but it just throughout the when I was doing those kind of flow of consciousness things, it just catches on fire and burns down for whatever reason.
Yeah, but it was fun because Scott and I used to go there at all hours of the night and day and draw. And so it would be 4:00 in the morning and we would go there and there'd be 10 people sitting on the patio outside and all eating and, a waitress tending to people and stuff it was the middle of the day.
Or not. Or not. People.
Or not, yeah.
That one old lady used to just hang out with us. If we wanted coffee, she'd be like, get it yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we knew where the coffee pots were.
Yeah, I met my ex-wife there.
Yeah.
Which was always a joke, but it happened.
Yeah. That must have been after you and I were dating. But
yeah. No, it was before. 6 months before.
All right.
Glad nobody ever found out.
Oh yeah. Phew. Anyway, okay. So we are officially like 20 minutes past time. But it was fun to catch up, and thank you everybody for joining me in chat today. I appreciate it. This was my affiliate push, and we'll see if I get it. If I don't get it, I'm going to push again really hard next week, and we'll see if we can get that, because then I can start like having people like subscribe to the channel and giving them stuff for that and everything, and actually doing like the online presence thing.
Maybe if I produce some quality, if I ever get invited back.
Yeah, you'll get invited back. You just have to draw faster. Okay, Scott Dalton, thank you very much for being on the show tonight. I appreciate it. You will be invited back, and everybody out there in Chatland, thank you very much for being on the show tonight, and I appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the future. Have a good one.